I could have recorded the Archon main quest about Natlan's invasion, or the side quest about the fake daughter. But I only knew in hindsight that they were pretty good actually. And they were the only two exceptions of Natlan quests that I actually liked. So it's kind of risky to record anything at all. I mean, the one part at the beginning of Natlan with the Dragon Companion, that wasn't too bad. But apart from that, not that interesting. The rest. I don't see anything. Thank you. I don't really fight those guys often, so I think I can use their material. But I was at this remote location when I was running around to save Natlan from its invasion, and I discovered this exclamation mark for a very remote quest. And it looks interesting, so I'm going to risk and record it. Because there's this girl who stares at a hole. A very deep hole that goes straight into the... Okay, it's not that deep actually. But I have high hopes that it could be interesting or good. Or both. Ah! You're a kid! I'll be over there in a moment. I thought you were a teenage girl from up there. There's no way it can be voiced. No, it's not. Hey, what are you doing here? Why, you scared me half to death. What if I fell? How would you pay me back? My hidden powers haven't been awakened yet, you know. I'm just a helpless little kid. Sorry, Paimon didn't mean to give you a fright, but hidden powers. Yes, I think he talks about the ancient name thing from Natlan. Hidden power for a reason. It's hidden. How the heck would I know what it is? Are you looking for your cutie mark? My Little Pony reference. Cutie mark Crusaders. He's got a point. So young, yet full of balloony. I think that means nonsense. No, he's got a point. I will play along. Look, let's put all those things aside for now. Can you help me find the star shards? I've saved up quite a bit of pocket money to help out Mama Coco. And you can have every last mora. Well, if it is for Mama Coco, I will gladly help. She sounds like a parrot. Since you're asking us for help, would you... Yes. We are not at the name base yet. He's just helpless little kid, number 1. Orko. Well, that's not much better than Coco. The name I use now is nothing but a code name, that's all. But everyone calls me Orko. Are you the Natlan version of Caterpillar? So you might as well too. Now, about those star shards, will you help? Just what is a star shard? Doesn't sound like it's something you can come by too easily. Well, it's something that falls from the sky. Ha! See? It was really not that hard. As long as you find them and return them to their original spot, which would be a comet or meteor, I think. Good luck with it. You can regain the power that was lost. Look! A fallen star... Wow! So that's what it is. That is a huge shard. And a nice chest. I thought it was some kind of entry to a cave. There's gotta be some lights to find star shards down there. Come on. Please give me a hand. the star shards and lost power and whatnot. That feels like something out of a novel. Like everything we ever did in this game, you mean? You never heard of the story of Quillor and Ukuku. My dad told me it a million times, and then a million times more. I could not hear it anymore, but I also could not forget it forevermore. So, I will force my knowledge upon you now, whether you want to know it or not. And then he told us everything. The tale of I have problems pronouncing the first name. Obviously. I will never, ever extract. I feel I have already missed the first 3 months because I don't have spare artifacts that I need to upgrade first and then sacrifice. This is the most stupid system ever. But I got something. A story about names I can't speak. That is not it. Where is it? It's not here. It's not anywhere. I hate it when the game does that. Wait a moment. It could be in the stories. In the story section. But how do I get there? I haven't been there in ages. The books. Where are the books? Shop. Archive? Books. The Tale of Quillor and Ukuku. How long is the tale? It would probably kill my voice. So I'm going to go for it. Long, long ago, the dim star was bright as all the other stars you can see. Yet the lives of the tribespeople were much the same as they are in the present day. To you, this way of life may seem overly familiar, perhaps nothing special, even lacking in excitement. But for Quillor, who lived on that star, it was anything but ordinary. Though the star that I should just skip the name. Lived on was the one that was the closest to his tribe, yet still she was inestimably far away from her brothers and sisters. Like you, she was always... Oh, that's the way he told the story to the child. I think with you he means the child. Which name I already forgot. The son of Coco. Let's go with that. Like you, she was always full of curiosity for things she did not understand. Just as we who live on the ground gaze up in awe at the starry sky, she too would often look down with great interest upon the tribes of the ground. Sounds logical, but one day Quillor leaned too far forward and accidentally fell from the sky. Falling to the ground, the star lost its former brilliance, and her power shattered into fragments that were shattered across the land. Her father, the sun, had entrusted her with this power, exhorting her to guard it carefully, but now, without that power, she could never again return to the sky. Quillor reflected upon how, when she was simply observing it from the star, life on the ground had seemed so fascinating to her, yet, now that she had to give up her original life and became part of it, it all seemed far less satisfying. I know exactly what you mean. Everything looks beautiful from far, far away. But once you get there, and are stuck there, it pretty much quickly loses its charm when you cannot return. For a long time, probably a few millennia, Quillor wandered alone, facing many dangers, for the wilderness back then was far more perilous than it is now, no doubt about it. Yet, Despite her tribulations, she found nothing. Later, by utter chance, she met Ukuku, a hunter from the tribe, and things began to change. Ukuku was a fierce warrior, as strong and silent as a bear. Upon learning of Quillor's plight, he agreed to help her search for the shattered shards and her star, then sent her back home. Home? You mean to the star, or she lives on Earth? I mean Teyvied. He prided himself on his skills as a hunter, both his prowess in the chase and, of course, his mastery in the art of tracking too. So, side by side, they set off on their roamings. They climbed high mountains and scaled great peaks, ventured into deep ravines and gloomy caverns, and in the process defeated hordes of enemies and made scores of friends. Sounds also quite like what I've done so far. Under Ukuku's watchful guidance, Quillor grew accustomed to life on the ground. Just like you and me, perhaps even better than some of us, she hunted, fought, and rested with Saurians. Recounted the incredible stories she had heard from the mouths of the storytellers to the children of the tribe, ate tatakos, and chased after the Monitu. Yet, occasionally, on those nights back then, unlit by glowing graffiti, the stars of the night sky would suddenly remind her of her distant home, and she would grow melancholious, or what it's called. Now, she was even further from her brothers and sisters. Did they miss her too? After years of fruitless searching, Quillor began to wonder, perhaps in the same way that she had become a part of this tribe, her lost power had long since been found. Perhaps the birds, beasts, insects, and snakes had claimed it for their own. How devious! How could they steal it? Well, they just found it, and absorbed it somehow, I think. When she asked Ukuku if he had grown tired of chasing such an elusive goal, the only answer he gave was a short "Sorry." What a tongue-tied hunter, she thought to herself, yet his heart is kind. Besides, they had been searching blindly from the very start, and it was by any reckoning a difficult task. And besides, it really had nothing to do with Ukuku from the first, so his apology was utterly misplaced. Thinking back on how this quiet hunter had taken such a good care of her, Quillor could only marvel at his kindness. Later on, Quillor and Ukuku were to form a family together, settling down in a corner of the tribe, and to think, the young children of the tribe had not the slightest inkling that one of their neighbors had fallen from the stars. Quillor had always been a cheerful disposition, and when things happened that could not be helped, she simply let them be. Though her homeland was now far out of reach, the twinkling stars seemed to greet her as if they were her brothers and sisters themselves, and so she was content. But Ukuku, whose wish had seemingly come true, became even more silent and gloomy than before. Why? Is it because he could not make her wish come true to return, even though he came to have a family with her and a happy life on Earth? Some said it was just his nature, while others speculated that it was his haunted guilt as a result of having failed to fulfill his promise to Quillor. Such theories each have their merits, but as you know, when someone harbors an unspeakable secret, they tend to appear melancholy. And this was certainly the case with Ukuku. But what exactly is the secret that Ukuku was hiding? Forgive me, I must keep you in suspense for now. Oh, nice music. And instead return to the matter of neighbors. It was said that a relative far off is less helpful than a neighbor close by. Interesting. And in the tribe, we always rely on the support of our neighbors and friends. As bad luck would have it, the neighbor Pochika was a troublemaker who had never gotten along with Cuckoo. He had always tried to make things difficult for Cuckoo, but as long as Cuckoo ignored him, things never escalated. So, before Quillor's arrival, they managed to coexist, but Quillor's presence ignited a spark of jealousy in Pochika, and once that spark was lit, it could not be easily extinguished. Cuckoo is a kind person, and kind people always put the needs of others above their own. Of course, Pochika was well aware of what the other tribespeople thought of Cuckoo, but he clearly saw things differently. What a bore he is! A complete and utter bore! But I can use his kindness against him, and in the end, it will save me much trouble. Pochika's plan was very simple. He would from time to time speak badly of Cuckoo in front of Quillor, adding a bit of color here and there, embellishing his stories with malicious barbs. You might wonder how such a clumsy trick could work, but do not forget the extreme reticence, even gloominess that Cuckoo had shown of late could be hard to bear for someone whose origins were as special as Quillor's. Look at you, like a bird that has had its wings clipped. When he was talking to Quillor, Pochika always took on an air of intimacy. He's always been like this. Whenever he found a bird he liked, he'd clip its wings to stop it from flying away, then lock it in a cage. Pitiful, truly pitiful. Oh, she's going to believe him, isn't she? She's going to start adopting Cuckoo. At first, Quillor paid no attention to her vindictive neighbor's gossip, but after years of hearing it time and time again, she could not help but begin to have doubts. She longed to know what was in Cuckoo's heart, but neither did she want to make a big deal out of nothing. So she tried probing with a few comments, disguised as playful remarks. Yet, always Cuckoo seemed unwilling to engage, either dodging her questions or simply adopting his usual gloomy demeanor and answering only with heavy silence. Now, let us return to the secret that the Cuckoo had kept hidden in his heart. Everything he did only served to deepen Quillor's suspicions. And she was the type that liked to get to the bottom of things. After all, if it wasn't for that, she would never have fallen from the star in the first place. Under the pressure of her questioning, Cuckoo soon confessed his secret. It turned out that in the course of their past travels together, he had indeed found some star shards. In other words, the goal that had always been seemed so elusive for Quillor was not entirely without its clues, but by that time Cuckoo had already developed feelings for her, and he knew that when the day came when all the shards had been found, Quillor would return to the stars, and they would never see each other again. Oh, this is bad. I understand where he's coming from, but he decided that for her, and they should have decided it for together, and that's where it all fell apart. As I see it, it is hard for anyone to persist in something that goes against their nature for long, and Cuckoo was no exception to this rule. When he finally revealed his innermost secret, it was as if a heavy weight had been lifted from his shoulders, and even the gloom of his face seemed to lessen. Yet, having heard his confession, Quillor felt only sadness and anger. I wonder why. Deceit and betrayal were things she had never known before, but now she understood them. She understood their bitter pang. And she started believing the neighbor Kochika or something like that, even more, I suppose. She really was a bird whose wings had been clipped. Thinking such a thought only served to convince Quillor that the cuckoo's actions could not be forgiven. And as we all know, though it takes great time to build, deep trust can be destroyed in an instant. I think that's true for most things that matter. Relationships. Okay, stay on target. Quillor demanded that the cuckoo hand over the shards he had hidden, but the cuckoo refused. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. There's no saving this guy. He could not bear the thought of parting with her, still believing that as long as he kept her close, there was always a chance that he might turn things around, but this was a vain idea. For as we all have our limits when it comes to forgiveness, and these vary from person to person, so for Quillor, did the buck stop at deceit and betrayal. Ignoring his pleas, Quillor left the tribe she had once considered home, returning to the same wilderness she had wandered when she first fell down to the ground. But this time it was different. She knew what she had to do, like a true person of Natlan. She left a huge work of gravity on the vast expanse of land. How big it was, though it can now be seen no longer, it is said that those who had witnessed it at the time remarked that it might well have been bigger than the volcano. You could not have missed such a gigantic piece of gravity, even if you were grazing down from the sun itself. And indeed, that was her intention. Let her lost power be, she thought to herself. Whether hidden by a cuckoo or claimed by the birds, beasts, insects, and snakes, it mattered not, for she could always turn to her father, the one who had bestowed her with his power in the first place, and was willing to accept any punishment that might come her way. What punishment? Because he fell? And lo, Quillor's son-father saw her plea, quickly bringing her back to the sky. That star that had lost its power became dim. She became the last unicorn, the only one that knew the meaning of sorrow and pain, unlike all the other unicorns, and was now almost invisible unless you looked very closely. Would Quillor still look down at the land, observing the lives of the people below as she once did? I do not know the answer for that. But what is certain is that she was reunited with her many brothers and sisters, returned to a place that even the mightiest Ictomisaurus could not reach. As for a cuckoo, who had been left behind, his deceit and betrayal angered the sun. As punishment, he was blinded by the sun's golden arrows. From then on, wherever he went, the sun would retreat behind the clouds, leaving him without a trace of sunlight. Even the child, Quillor, who was still very young at the time, was affected by this. As a result, he was unable to form a single friendship with any Saurian until he had grown up to be a young man. But as for Quillor's adventures thereafter, well, that is another story entirely. Wow. And it even continues. What a good story. Where is the child? Is it down there? That was very taxing on my voice though. But the child disappeared. There's not even a quest. Doctor's orders. Daydreams beyond. To wish upon a star. Go down. Navigate. Where is it? Ah, I just have to go there. But I really should take a break because of my voice.